I think it's recording. Yeah, I should be recording.
Okay.
Okay. So do you guys have it pulled up? Because I only see one other person on here outside of test.
How do you know which one I am?
Because you've always been that snake in my life, for me at least.
I'm always a snake.
Yeah, you fucking snake. Alright. I'm gonna wait because I think Stan just disappeared.
I'm here.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
How come? Wait, for me it says you're muted. How are you? What?
He's not muted. Stop trolling.
What? Okay.
What?
Is everyone here? There's two people that still need to go to the talk.
I'm in the talk.
Are you guys talking? Do you guys there?
Yeah, it says communication. What is communication?
Wait, how come it?
The exchange of information or news.
Okay. Then
Did you copy that off Wikipedia?
what? No. I stole this from someone else. No, I'm kidding. Alright. So yeah. So this is a lesson on communication because I feel like we really needed it, especially like after that last game we played. It was kind of like one of our biggest flaws, and like none of you guys talk, or when you do talk, it's about things that are like unimportant. And like part of learning fives and playing as a team is like being able to communicate. This is the biggest difference in my opinion between solo queue and learning fives. The amount of communication you do in solo queue is basically nil. But you have to communicate to be able to play on the same page. So what is communication? Obviously, communication is the exchange of information or news. There are two parts of communication. There is the emitting end and the receiving end, and like the biggest point of communication is that both parties have to understand what is being said. So if I'm trying to tell you guys something and you guys don't understand it, that is not communication anymore. And so because this exists, there is both efficient and inefficient communication. So we're going to the next one. So what information should be leaked? Yeah, in League of Legends there's kind of almost like a information hierarchy, which just simply means that some information is more important than others. So if you know that someone blew a cooldown, that's pretty important for you to say that, right?
No flash.
Yeah, there's things like a flash, teleport, especially those two. If you know those,
Heal, exhaust.
Yeah.
Combat summoners.
Basically anything. Global.
CC abilities.
Yeah, CCs, things like that. You really want to communicate that because that tells your team how much freedom you have. Like if you tell your jungler, hey, bot doesn't have flash, now your jungler knows, hey, I can actually pull off a gank bot. Things like that. So yeah, in efficient communication, you want to state the most important things first, because if you guys are stating like less important things, then you guys aren't all on the same page. Does that make sense? That's like trying to tell someone to find a word, but they're not on the same page as you. Like you guys will never find the same word if you guys aren't on the same page. What do we want to avoid in communication? We want basically just keep things on topic. You guys really don't want to.
No jokes.
Yeah.
No flame of a specific
Obviously,
person.
no flame. Jokes can be useful, but it's still very very situational. But like overall, just try to avoid those things. Yeah, but you want to keep it on topic as much as possible, because if you're bringing up off things that are off topic, you're not only no longer thinking about the game, you're keeping other people from thinking about the game. Like if I'm telling Toast about how good my pizza was, like how can both of us be thinking about the game if we're talking about my pizza? So you want want to keep it as league related as possible. Like I said before, some jokes can be used properly. It's really, I think
Like when your entire
overall,
team gets aced,
yeah.
and then you're just sitting there, you can make a joke or two.
If it's a 50-minute game, like making a couple jokes every once like a couple times in like 10 minutes, like that's perfectly fine. That we like keeping, if you make jokes to keep people from being tilted and things like that, like that is 100% okay. But like, don't joke when like the rest of the team is really trying to focus. Yeah, don't be too general or broad about information. It's like, say like the difference between saying I think he has flash and he might have flash. Because if you say I think he has flash, what they know is you believe he has flash, and thus it's a fact until proven wrong. If you say he might have flash, what you tell them is you don't know shit. So you want to make sure you're really not too general or broad about information. And sometimes that also includes like when you're communicating what you're intending to do. Like, so you just kind of want to make sure that you're not saying things that are almost like too general to have like a point to it. Because everything you're saying should have a point. Try not to talk about critical mistakes. Yeah. For example, don't talk about missing farm. Like, don't be like, God damn it, I missed that farm. Because what you do is you clog up just comms, which is like the worst thing you can do. Clog up comms, and you also basically cause your team to almost like take off focus on what they were doing to listen to you. So that's why anything off topic you kind of just want to keep that out of the game. Yeah, if you wild turtle, like all you have to say is you're dead. You don't have to talk about what you did wrong. You don't have to say I'm so sorry I did this. I'm so sorry I did. Just say, hey, I died. That's all you need. Because everyone, especially like in a team fight, all you have to say is I'm dead. You don't have to say why. You don't
It's
have
important
talk
to tell
about
your team that you're dead because they know like if they can still fight or not
Yeah, especially if you're
in team fights.
yeah. I was gonna say especially if you're AD carry, but I think all roles definitely should say if they're dead. Um, damage dealers, like it's very key that damage dealers say it. Because that will make or break most of the time. Yeah, don't linger on mistakes, because if you're talking too much about like, hey, I messed up because I didn't flash this, what you do is, especially if it's still in a team fight, what you do is everyone else is no longer focused on the team fight. Everyone is focused on what you're trying to say, and that's not good.
And try not to point out other people's mistakes, especially.
Yeah.
When I used to play this when Halo Parody, he used to say like there's no need to point out other people's mistakes because they know they messed up because they died or whatever, right? So there's no point like telling them they did something wrong. Just keep quiet about it.
Yeah,
Don't talk about it after the game.
Yeah, don't point out other people's mistakes, because all that does is like you're telling them twice of what happened, and they don't need that. They know they made a mistake. Then what you guys want to do is instead of thinking about that mistake, you guys want to think about what can we do after that mistake. How can we fix it and things like that. So we're going back to the information hierarchy. So yeah, each piece of information holds a different value. So you want to, so like I said before, sums and globals and things like that, they're pretty high up on the list. Like especially early game, jungler positioning is really high up on the list. If you guys are talking about like just small things like, hey, he doesn't have W when the jungler is coming down, what you guys do is you guys distract yourself from the most important thing, and you kind of want to stay focused. And like I write a hierarchy. If you guys scroll a little more down, I write a hierarchy, but this is very general. It's not necessarily like this is how it goes every single time. But yeah, the key is we want to relay the most important information first, and then we start to go down. So for And I'll explain why I placed what where as we go through this. So for your early game, most important in my opinion is jungler positioning. It's huge because the jungler will, if you guys know where the jungler is at all times, you make him useless and you make it a 4v5, which is just, in my opinion, winning a 4v5 is so winning a 5v4 is super easy. So you kind of want to know where to. The entire point of a jungler is to create a numbers disadvantage in a lane, and if you always know where he is, he can't do anything. So I put that at the very top of the list. Intent, which includes fighting and objectives. If you're gonna go it, if you're gonna like for bot lane, especially if you're planning on going in, like you have to say something like, hey, I'm gonna like if you're playing Tristana for instance, hey, I'm gonna jump in, and then you let your support know, oh, okay, he's going to go in, then I need to be ready to, let's say you're playing Janna, I need to be ready to shield him. That include I put intent that includes objectives as well. So if the jungler came down bot and he ganked, you guys get the double kill. The first thing you should look for is the objective, right? And so you guys want to make sure you guys are communicating what you're intending to do next. Jungler's not here, but jungler should always be saying, hey, I'm gonna take this camp and then I'm gonna try to do this. And like the jungler stating what he's trying to intend is probably one of the biggest things. That's why in the early game, the jungler has one of the biggest roles because he will make or break every single lane. If you have a good jungler, he will win your lane for you. But yeah, another thing you guys want to talk about, summoner spells, globals, cooldowns. When I write cooldowns, I'm not talking about like every single cooldown in the game. Like you don't need to say, hey, Ryze Q'd, and then he just E's and he gets his Q back right away. Like, mainly you want to focus on like heavy cooldowns, like Tristana jump, or like Janna ult, things like that. Summoner spells, obviously, you want to make sure you guys are listing summoner spells because that allows your, especially early game, that allows your jungler to know what he can and cannot do. Vision. Yeah, vision in early game is still very important, but generally, if you know where the jungler is positioned, then the vision. If you know where the jungler is positioned, then vision kind of goes down in the list of importance. But vision is still obviously very important. You want to list where it's worded, where it's not worded, where you can deny vision, things like that, because that also allows your jungler to know, hey, I can pass through this way instead of going through river, for instance. Critical mistakes. Yeah, I put this as a very bottom because generally you just, if you know that you made a mistake, if you know that your teammate made a mistake, they will probably know they made a mistake. You do want to sometimes talk about it, but it's not like it's not high up there. It's not something you should always be looking to talk about. For mid to late game, the information hierarchy shifts because certain things become more important the later it gets because people start scaling, the death timers start to get longer, there are less towers, there are less only specific objectives are coming up, things like that. So you kind of have to change your mindset from that early game, almost jungler focused communication to more of a macro team play objective focused communication. So yeah, number one, goals objectives. Without a doubt, having a good idea of what you want to do and what objectives you guys can push for should always be like the first thing in comp. Saying like, hey, we should rotate top from mid after we take this tower. Things like that. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to promote, and that's what we need in our comms. Vision is huge when it starts coming into mid to late game. Vision is probably one of the most important things because good vision and good denial of vision is what you're going to base your goals and objectives. If you know they don't have vision of an objective, like specifically like a Drake or a Baron, you can push for that. That vision will help you push for your for one of those objectives. So yeah, vision is still really high priority when it comes to comms. And positioning as well. If you know that someone is split pushing, and you know it's a 4v5 mid, like all you have to say is, "Hey, you're at the top, so we can fight this 4v5," and that also aligns with intent, because if you know where if you say where the enemy is positioning, you can use that information to have an intent. Like you can say, "Hey, and we can fight this 4v5," or "Hey, we can look to fight, blow Fiora's TP, and then rush Bear." Things like that. Intent is still pretty high up, but I don't. Intent can sometimes also intermingle with goals and objectives. They're basically the same thing, but but intent is sometimes more of, "Hey, I want to look to fight here. Hey, I want to look to back off here. Hey, I want to look to back, buy items, and I want to reset." Things like that. So summoner spells, globals, cooldowns is next. Yeah, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Making sure you guys know what summoner spells they have and haven't used. Then critical mistakes. Like I said, you guys were most of the time you guys probably don't even talk about critical mistakes. I will say that you can talk about you can analyze like after a team fight. If you guys are all ace, you guys can say, "Hey, we should look to focus blank next time, and we should look to do this, or we should look to flank, or we should look to TP faster," and things like that. But outside of that, overall, I would like to avoid that you guys talk about mistakes in general. Not to be ignorant about it, but analysis and talking about mistakes goes after the game. That's what you do after the game. You don't look, because if you look at it too much during the game, then you're not focused on the present, you're focused on the past. And that's not going to help you to win the game in the end. During fights, yeah, for fights, you're also going to have a different information hierarchy. The first thing you guys want to talk about is focus or your target. It's not, you're not going to be saying ash, focus ash. That's not what you want to do. What you want to do is say focus ash. Just say it twice and you're done. Like that's all you really need. And you also want to talk, especially like if you're a big damage dealer, like let's say you're Syndra. If you want to say, if you're gonna say like, "Hey, I'm ulting Ash right now," or say like Ash is dead, things like that. I would also place that around there. Then the next thing you say, peel or assist. Especially if you're a carry, you gotta say like, "Hey, I need peel, I need peel right now," or like, "Hey, someone needs to peel me, someone needs to help blank." Things like that. Flanks. This goes for flanking and being flanked. If you guys are being flanked, you guys need to state, "Hey, blank is coming." Let's say it's Maokai. "Hey, Maokai is coming from bot side," and or you could say like, "Hey, you should flank from blank, or hey, I'm flanking from blank." Making sure you guys are relaying that type of information. Like I say flanks, but maybe I should say more positioning, because it is it also, I would also include like, "Hey, I can catch out blank," let's say like with Threshold. Summoner spells or important cooldowns, again, that's really big. In fights, globals aren't. Globals are just, I'm going to include globals as important cooldowns. Retreat or give up a fight. They're two very different things because retreating doesn't necessarily mean you give up a fight. You can retreat and then you can turn, but giving up a fight means you're just getting out of there as fast as you can. You lost the fight and you just want to cut your losses. That is what giving up a fight is, and they're very different. Yes, stating your intent to retreat or give up a fight is because that will tell your team, hey, we're either in a good position or we're either in a bad position or like we just straight lost the fight.
Say like you're in a 5v5 fight and you kill 3 of them and you lose 1 and they're retreating. There's no need to continue like chasing and there's the objectives up. You can like retreat out of the fight and do like dragon, say, or like take a tower. You know, you don't always have to like fights don't always have to end with everyone dying. Basically.
Next thing, chasing. If you are in like if you can kill someone else, like obviously you're gonna say, hey, I'm looking to chase, and then like if like Toast said, if not everyone has to die, so you instead look for the next objective, which is the very first one. What are the strong foundations of what are the foundations of strong communication? This is just basically key points that you guys really need to keep in mind when you guys are talking to one another. Communication has to go both ways. You guys have to talk to each other. It's not one person saying things to another person. It's you both are talking to each other. And if you guys like actively talk, you guys will almost always be on the same page. Trust is huge when it comes to communication. If you can't trust your teammates, how are you going to play as a team? You know? Yeah. Just don't be toxic. Don't say anything toxic. Don't flame. Don't be an asshole. And like honestly, you should communicate. Fine. Just as long as you guys aren't being assholes to one another, you guys should be 100% okay. I don't think any of you guys are toxic, which is a good thing.
Sean's toxic.
Outside of me, yeah, I'm really toxic, but yeah. Shot calling. So I feel like a lot of people have a misinterpretation of what really shot calling is. Shot calling is just essentially taking the lead in macro play. Meaning you are not micromanaging. You are not a quote unquote leader. You're just taking the lead in macro play. All you're saying is you're focusing on objective. Even like sometimes focusing and focusing a target in a team fight. So, like general small things can be a shot that drop. Just very simple, like someone saying like, hey, we can let's take Baron, or let's set up Baron vision. Small things like that can be shot calling. I feel like a lot of people think like you have to be like Afro move to shot call, and you got to be like, hey, we can take this in 4.2 seconds and then move on to clean ace them. Like it's very different from what I feel like a lot of people make it out to be. Anyone can shot call. I hate the fact that people don't think anyone can shot call. AD carries can shot call. Support obviously. Mid obviously. Even top and jungler. Like anyone can shot call. But there are certain rules that favor shot calling. Like for instance, AD carry, it's hard for AD carry to shot call because they have to be so focused on themselves, especially early game. Because you cannot, as an AD carry, focusing on macro and like trying to figure out where the jungler is and figure out where what lanes should be yanked and what lanes need to be counter yanked and things like that. It is so difficult for you to be able to do all that and still focus on farming, which is very key for an AD carry. So certain rules do favor it, but in general, everyone can shot call, and there doesn't have to be only one shot caller. Shot calling is generally there's generally a main shot caller and a secondary shot caller, but that's not necessarily how it always goes. Yeah, like I said before, shot calling is not micromanaging. You just give a direction to the team. That's all you do. You don't tell them what to do. You just say, "Hey, this is what we should look for." Instead, you're not saying this is what we need to do. You're saying this is what we should look for. You just give a general direction for where you want the team to go. Shot calling is built on trust. If you have faith in the shot caller, the team can play on the same page. I actually want to say something to a previous point where I said anyone can shot call, but certain roles favor shot calling. For my team, we have like, I feel like this is a good example because I think a lot of people think like the highest ranked player will shot call, or like the loudest player will shot call, but that's not necessarily true. Like for my L5 team, we have 2 plats, we have two mid golds, we have me, and then we have a silver player. Out of all the we have 4 people higher ranked than me, but I'm the shot caller, which is, I mean, obviously it's kind of like, I feel like a lot of people think it's like the highest ranked player will always shot call no matter what, which is very, very wrong. And like for me, like as the jungler, it's like shot calling comes naturally to you almost, because when you have a good sense of macro, you tend to want to like share it, you know? So it's not always going to be the highest ranking player that shot calls. It's not always going to be the jungler that shot calls. It's not always going to be the support or the mid or anyone that just shot calls. It's not always going to be them. And like shot calling can change from game to game. Because if top lane has a lead and he can like he's already destroyed his the first tower and top lane, and now he knows that he can go mid, then he can make the call to go mid, and he can say, "Hey, I want to go mid. Let's push mid." And then bot lane's like, "Okay, we can go mid as well." And then you guys 5-man mid, take that tower. You guys can look for another objective, and it's not always one person doing the shot calling every single game.
Basically, you don't always have you don't really have a set shot caller.
Yeah,
like
there's
anyone
no
can make a call,
set
and
shot caller. Yeah, exactly.
anyone can make a call.
Everyone gives everyone will always give information to like, regardless of who you are, you're going to be contributing. Even if you're not the quote unquote shot caller, you're still going to give a lot of information that will help your team. A thing I do want to point out though is you always listen to the team's call. It is easy to fix a bad call, but it is so hard to fix ignorance. If you refuse to listen to your team, that is hard for us coaches to fix. We can go after a game and we can tell you, "Hey, this is why you should have done this call instead of this call." But it is so hard for us to tell you, "Hey, this is why you should have listened to that call instead, or stick with your team." Things like that. So simply put, you guys want to stay on the same page. Like the worst comes to, like, even if you utterly hate each other for some weird reason, like just fake it. Literally just fake trust them and just go with it. And yeah, it's just you can like, obviously I'm not saying like if someone makes a bad call, don't just go along with the call because they made the call. But I'm trying to say, if your team all agrees on the call, it is better to make a bad team call to make separate good calls. Because what are you going to do if 4 members of your team are going to take drag and you thought Baron was a good idea, so you're going to go try solo Baron? Because then that's not how you do teamwork. Because even bad calls can turn into good calls if everyone's on the same page. Yeah, like for the final point on this thing, everyone contributes information. It is not just the shot caller. The shot caller is just entrusted with making the best decision. And I said it before, like anyone can be the shot caller. It can change game to game. There's no like set shot caller. Like some people are more suited or better suited for it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, and that's always how it will be. Okay, and that is our communication one.
Wait, not done yet.
But which one?
My awarding spots, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, but we're not done yet.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, maybe Toast. I think maybe we just use Risk Kit because that'll save us a lot of time. And I feel like I can record Risk Kit.
No.
This is the second document that we're talking. We're gonna do wording and
Wait. Discord can do video calls now, right? How do you do that?
what'd you say?
Video calls or something. Discord. Video.
I thought only some people had that.
I don't know.
Do you have that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure only some people have that.
Wait, is it
Tell-
only
tell when you
DMs
all
or
are-
like?
when you all are good.
Hold on. Call me.
I don't.
Alright, how do I do this?
Yeah, it should be already up there by the call button. I think we were
What?
talking about it earlier. Yeah, only like 1,000 people got it out of like the 100,000 or like the millions of people that use Discord, TBH. But yeah, all right, let's hop back to the other one.
Okay.
See
Oh, welcome back.
screenshots below. Shut up, Stan.
Where are the screenshots?
You were supposed to do them, but I think it's just better we do Rift Kit for now.
I have the screenshots already. Okay,
Okay, so
go on.
let's. Does everyone have it up? Zero, do you have it?
Where?
The wording.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Okay, and then Foxes as well.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. It should just say wording, and it looks exactly like the other document.
Yep, there it is.
Okay. All right, and then I'm assuming Stan has it because he says see screenshots below. So wording. I think this was the second biggest issue we had from the game we played before, and I feel like this is just a good rundown of why wording is so important and how to word. So yeah, why is wording important? I feel like everyone knows that wording is important, but nobody knows why. And especially like in lower elos, I feel like a lot of people don't word just because they don't
Or
know,
don't word
like,
properly.
how important it can be. Because it will win you games, it will lose you games. So yeah, wording can make or break a team. That's what I said. With good vision, you can come back from a goal deficit to win a game. Especially if it's a long game. Like I said, I mentioned it before. As the game goes on, wording becomes more important because getting picked off, objectives, things like that become more. Those things become more important, and wording will secure you picks and objectives. So yeah, wording is key parts in all the games. I just mentioned this. Wording is key in all parts of the game, but especially late game. Wording determines the information you have. If you drop, like this, if you drop a ward by their blue buff, you know two things. You know either if their blue is up or it's gone, and you'll know if their jungler is there or if it's not. And you can use that kind of information Hey, if their blue buff is up, you know the jungler, and you know their jungler was somewhat heading that way. You know their jungler is going to be at blue soon, which means you can actually call your mid laner and just have like I'm assuming you guys are blue side by the way. You can call your mid laner and then have your support and AD carry come up to blue, and you guys can 3-man the jungler when he gets his blue. And then now you have a lead and things like that. So
Where'd you go?
what
You DC'd.
did I?
Yeah. Just reset your sentence.
Okay. Where did I cut off? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay. I should we just restart it because it's okay.
Sure.
You
Cut
said
off, like,
something about
5
the
seconds
ADC
ago.
and support coming up.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. So so you can actually make the ADC and the support come up along with the mid laner if you know that he's going to be at his blue soon, and you guys have good vision of it. You can actually just 3-man him at as blue gets. You guys can get just first blood. You guys get a gold lead, things like that. So if you know these kinds of stuff, you can also know when to push or when to freeze a lane. Just warding is just so key to telling you to what you can and cannot do. So yeah, warding can save your life and your teammates. It's only 75 gold for a control ward, and everyone thinks 75 gold is so much, but it's not at all. Like if I go through your OPGGs, I would assume that you guys probably average 1 or 2 at most controllers. And that is 150 gold. That is a refillable pot, which 9 out of 10 times you end up selling as a jungler. So the amount of gold that it really costs you is nothing. You should be buying them all the time. Like pro players average 5 to 6 control words a game, minimum 5 to 6 control words a game. And like, I'm not gonna tell you buy 5 to 6 control words a game, but I feel like you guys can really start to ease into buying them. Like the second you buy them, you'll ward. I know that for a fact. I know it from experience because the second you buy it, you're not gonna waste that 75 gold, right? You're not gonna go back to base and sell it because that's pointless. You're gonna get no gold back. So as long as you're buying wards, you will place them. And yeah, like I say in this, warding can save your life and your teammates. It only costs 75 gold, but if you die from a gank that you could have easily warded, or from a path that you could have easily warded, like especially for like mid lane, if mid lane dies from that gank, you lose your map pressure, which means now the enemy jungler can invade your jungler, and you could actually cause 2 deaths from one. But yeah, it's kind of the enemy. If you don't ward, you force yourself at a disadvantage, especially if the enemy is warding. How do we ward? Like I said, this buy them. If you buy wards, I guarantee you will place them. Yeah, in team play, you almost always go Tracker's Knife as a jungler. I'm glad that Parallel is here now because now I can say just like you will almost always go Tracker's Knife. Like my coach flames me if I don't go Tracker's Knife. He doesn't actually, but like let's pretend. It's because vision becomes so key to you, and especially as a jungler. As a jungler, you have the ability to ward anywhere on the map. So it is so big that you keep your vision up. And you can also track the enemy jungler, which means you can counter gank. You know where you can gank without being counter ganked, and things. And you can warn your team where the jungler is and prevent ganks. So yeah. Warding will come naturally through experience. The more you ward, the better you will get at warding. And I'm not talking about just the placement, but like knowing when to ward, where to ward, uh, how to use wards efficiently. The more often you will ward, the more often you ward, you will just be better at warding in general. Do not ward to get that OP vision score up. Ward with intent to abuse the information you get from it. Don't ward to ward. Don't spam wards in their base to get your vision score up. Like, I mean, you can, but it's just pointless. Don't ward pointlessly. Ward with intent. There's a big key here. I think this is probably one of the biggest things you should take away from this. Ward with intent. Either intent, you can ward with intent defensively, like you can ward to prevent yourself from getting ganked. You can also ward with intent offensively, like if you wanna steal a camp away from from the enemy jungler, you can look to do that. When should we ward? Warding constrictions are not strict. It is very difficult to really like say, hey, this is a good time to ward. Like I can't tell you between 3 minutes and 4 minutes that's the best time to ward. That because that will not hold true for even for most games. Maybe for some weird reason that works for 50% of the games, but even so, that's still not, you know. But there are plenty of things that can point out like when is a good time to ward. Like for instance, if the enemy jungler starts, you guys are blue side by the way. If the enemy jungler starts at their blue buff, bot lane should not ward. Bot lane should not ward those bushes right away, because because unless they're playing like unless they're cheesing, or they play something like Zac or Rek'Sai, which has ridiculous games, like even level 2 Zacky barely like Zacky doesn't even make it a third of the river. Like you're not gonna want to ward that side right away. Little things like this, like knowing where the jungler starts, knowing how fast the jungler can clear, because that'll tell you like when you want to ward and like how to prevent ganks essentially, because wards do prevent ganks. If an engaged support like Blitzcrank or Thresh is abusing a lane brush, yeah, you just wanna, if you're being pushed in, you wanna ward the you're gonna want to ward the brush that's closest to you. If you're pushing, you want to ward the brush that is far away from you. And I feel like either a lot of people don't abuse brushes as often as they should, or people don't know how to deny the abuse of those brushes. If you simply ward it, you know. If you ward it, you know everything he's going to do in that brush. So that I think that is really important for bot lane.
Also, if you know, like if the jungler's on the other side of the map, there's no point warding because then you're just wasting ward time.
Yeah, and you only have 2 wards, and most of the time there are at least 2 paths where you can get ganked from. So yeah, keep in mind your wards are important. You don't want to ward to ward. You want to ward with intent. Early wards. Early wards are generally for the jungler. Like you're not gonna ward early for I don't know. I mean, you can ward early for other things, like if their support is, if you think their support is roaming, if their support is a roaming support and things like that, you can ward for that. But generally, it is for the jungler. So something I wrote here was, if you ward an alive camp when the jungler is on that side, you can know from your ward where he's heading. Like let's say let's say you guys have a ward on wolves, and you guys are blue side, there red side. So if you ward their wolves and he heads up, you know he's either intending to gank mid from mid from the left side, he's going top, or he's just clearing his camps in that area. So now you know that bot lane doesn't have to play nearly as safe as they used to. And it's just like I said before, wards will determine the information and what you can and cannot do. So yeah, how can we really abuse wards? Especially late game, wards are huge. Wards are so key because they can make or break games. With good vision denial and ward placement, you can set up for a pick. You see this a lot with the quote unquote Baron dance that you see a lot in the LCS, where everyone just running back and forward, like dropping wards in to make sure that the other person isn't going to do it, and then like the other team just goes in and like forces that team out, and then they just do it back and forth until like one team finally decides, hey, I'm gonna go in and kill everyone, and then they finally get Baron. But yeah, you want to set up for a pick. Especially if you have things like Blitzcrank and things like that. You can also prevent a pick because if you have good vision, the enemy Blitzcrank is by Baron Pit, and you guys have vision in Baron Pit. You limit the amount of places he can be. Things like that. Keeping objectives worded, yeah. Keeping objectives worded can help you determine if your team can contest. So you can either, if you don't know how many people are taking Dragon, how are you going to know if your 3 members of your old team that's alive know if you guys are going to be able to contest that? Things like that. So you can also take objectives if you keep objectives worded. Vision denial. Yeah, vision denial I feel like is something I didn't really touch up on this specific sheet, but essentially vision denial is the very exact opposite of wording, where you can make sure that you limit the amount of information that the enemy team has. Control words, sweepers, things like that. Those are all key to deny vision. And yeah, so vision denial makes it very difficult for the enemy to contest objectives. This is the exact opposite of what I said earlier, where if you keep things worded, you might be able to contest. If you deny vision, it's difficult for them to contest. You can also deny the jungler their camps, because if the jungler has to walk in the dark in the jungle to clear camps, then he's most likely, he should either be afraid of getting invaded or things like that, or he has to play like super safe. And you guys can, especially if you guys are ahead and you guys are in their jungle and you're past tier 1 turrets, you guys can always just constantly know where the jungler is if you guys have just good vision. And really, like, if you can ward the few entrances to the jungle, then you'll always know where he is. It only takes 2 wards to ward the 2 entrances of top side, and it only takes 2 wards to ward the 2 entrances from left side. And there's always bushes right next to the entrances, so if you just drop wards like right there, you guys will always know where the jungler is, like mid to late game. Yeah, a vision denial can help sneak objectives. You see this a lot, especially in LCS, where teams will just walk to Baron, clear all the vision, like look to walk out, then the Baron dance, and then when when a lane is pushed out, and they have to go, when one team has to go clear, the other team will instantly start Baron. After they clear vision, they'll instantly start Baron, because that's what you should do. That's why pushing lanes is also really important. Because pushing lanes allows you to set up for objectives. Yeah, there are many uses to vision. I can give you like a billion situations, and like that would not cover every single use for vision. Vision is so key in lead, and like not having any, even with the gold, even if you guys have a gold lead, if you guys have bad vision, you guys are just really far, you guys are going to set yourself far behind. And I think that was that game that you guys played before, where I was criticizing you guys' wording, was a great example. The enemy team was really good at wording. They always had words up. They placed something like 80 something words in a 40-minute game. That means at least a word every 2 minutes, which doesn't like look that good if you think about it that way. But you guys never killed our words either. And even though they were behind, they had a lot more information and they knew what they could and couldn't handle much better than you guys did, even though you guys had a 6k gold lead. But yeah, I think that's about it for vision. We're gonna talk about, well, we're gonna talk about where should I word. So let me pop over real quick.
Okay.
So the wording, like I mentioned before, is really what's it?
Yeah, start with top lane. Right.
Oh wait, how am I supposed to share this? I just realized that I never.
You can't. Okay, I got the screenshots, don't worry. Okay, Fox, it's for top lane. As soon as it loads, yeah. Okay, so top lane blue side, alright? So usually in like bronze to plat, most junglers start blue bot side with the bot leash usually, and then they gank top at 3 minutes. So what you want to do is you either ward in spot number 1 or number 2 as blue side if like the lane is like normal and not being pushed in. Okay.
Right.
So because if the jungler comes from after they do scuttle, they come up from river, you can see them. And if they come out of the bush, you can still see them if they're in the bush. If they go up, then like try for like a sort of lane gank, then like I don't know, you're too pushed up, I guess.
You dead.
Yeah. Let's see. Blue side. Oh, what you can do on blue side is okay. Freeze picture. Number 1 is usually where you put your ping cord, because if you put it like in spot number 2, they can see it, and number 3 is really too far and you can't defend it. Okay. Next picture. If you're pushed up on blue side, what you can do is you can walk to their red and ward it there. So that in case the jungler goes to red and does it, you can see that he's there, and then you can like back off and stuff. And if the Bastion has their bonus thing, you can like pop it, jump over. So you deny 1 gank pass while like getting yourself back to lane. You always want to pop Bastions on the enemy side because it denies a gank pass.
Makes sense.
Red side. Who named these?
You should have named them.
I did name them.
You did.
Yeah, they're so hard to navigate there. Okay. While you're on red side, it'll load. Alright. When to, so Tribush, you generally want to put your ping guard there. And at 3 minutes, that's usually where you want your ward, because if you're not being pushed up, that's where the jungler will gank. Because if they try to gank from the river, you have enough time to walk back. But afterwards, you put a ping guard in Tribush and put a ward there, and you should be safe from ganks if you're looking at the map. And then, same deal, if you're pushed up, you can go to their blue buff and ward it, or take it for yourself if you have the time. That's like in lanes that you're winning really hard. You put a ward there, and so if you see the jungler doing blue buff, then you can leave an early warning.
You can actually move that ward like right in between.
Buff
yeah.
And Gromp.
And drop it there, and that'll not only cut off the entrance, it'll cut off, and it'll show you both camps at the same time. So you'll know if he's going to be there.
This is like the express ward, and then you head up, and then you hop the Blastcon, so that way you can't jump into the bush. This also helps your mid laner, because like, say you have vision of blue buff, and then you see the enemy mid laner doing blue, so that your mid laner knows as well. I'll delete these so they don't clog up the thing. Unless you want them. Do you want, like, or like, hey,
Yeah,
do you guys
it's
want?
fine. I think
I think I got it now.
recording info.
Okay. Right. For mid lane. Mid lane is the fun part. Mid lane has so many entrances, so there's really a lot of good
So many
wording
ways to
spots.
gank mid lane. So
Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay, hold on.
yeah, but there's a billion ways to gank mid lane, and that's kind of why the jungler is so important to get Tracker's Knife, especially because
Okay.
if your mid laner drops a control ward on one side, you can always drop like a control ward or just another ward on the other side, and then he's susceptible from river ganks on both ends.
Okay. So, blue side, mid lane, left side. Okay. There's a lot of warning spots here. So, spots number 1, 3, and 5 are my favorite ones. So,
Wait, is 5 in the...
in the chicken pit, yeah.
Okay.
Raptors, calm down.
This is on blue side.
Blue side.
Okay.
Okay. So, early game for laning. Hold on.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, if you can get an early
okay,
ward
so-
in the Raptor pit.
No,
you
number
can
one.
win as well.
Number 1 and 5 is where you want to ward early game, because generally junglers start bot side and they work their way up and they gank from the top side. So 1, you can spot them before they head in the rush, or you can spot them if they try to like do scuttle in the river or like invade blue, right?
Mhm.
And 5 is for chickens when he's eating chickens, you know. There was one time I wore a chicken pit and I saw the enemy jungler doing chicken, so I killed them there. It was nice. Anyways,
Feels good, man.
yeah. I don't really like 2. 2 is kind of it's okay. 3, you can put a control ward there if you have like zones of control. Like, if you have control on the top side, you can put a control ward in banana bush 3 right there. 4 you can do. That's like a really popular one, but I don't really like it. It doesn't give much.
Are we talking about? Are we blue? We're blue side, right?
Blue side, yeah.
Right. So there's actually another ward spot where you can pink right behind their red, because most of the time you're not gonna pass there at all unless you're ganking mid. Because like he does if their jungler can go through every single camp without hitting that bush ever. But if he wants to gank mid, that is the most optimal path for him to do so.
Oh yeah, pink in the bush
Pink in the
behind
bush
red.
right behind right behind red buff.
Okay. Yeah.
Basically 4 is like as an assassin, you can hide in the bush, and if they try to ward and they try to clear, you can jump on at them, which is nice. Alright, blue side. Okay, right side. Okay. For the right side. Bit of a load. Okay. So number 1 is my favorite place to put my pink ward, because mid laners like to roam bot a lot.
Yeah.
So if you have a pink ward there, you can roam bot without them spotting you. And you can easily spot the jungler before he comes into your jungle or gank you from giveaway.
Sometimes I like putting my pink ward like in bot lane, like when I reach the tribush. And then,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
That's fine. But generally, like bot lane should have a ward in tribush if you're blue side there.
If
But if
you
it's-
have plenty of control wards, it shouldn't be an issue that you drop one. To like,
Drop
the
one and you
jungler's
come back,
map.
you put there again, yeah. Like if for some reason your bot lane doesn't have one, or like they cleared it, you can drop one of your own
Yeah,
to make sure they don't have any wards there.
I'm going to mention something right here because I think it involves the jungler. As a jungler, like you're never going to use your like it's almost always you're using it to track the enemy jungler, or you're using it for your lanes. Like, but a lot of junglers don't drop their wards for don't drop wards for their laners. But having even like an extra ward for a lane is gigantic because you deny a path that they can gank from.
Mhm.
Drop wards all the time as jungler. And that's why Tracker's Knife is so huge.
Number 2 is really good if you don't want to put the controller in the bush, because the best way to gank a blue side mid laner from the right side is through like the
back.
path. Yeah, through the back. Yeah, because most people have river warded. And so yeah, that will cover if they go into the bush or if they go behind you. 4 is the same deal with the control word on the left side. You can put it there and like you can jump people and stuff. And 3 is good for spotting mid laners that go to blue buff, so like Anivia, Ori, like mid laners that require blue buff, Syndra.
We're
You
blue
put it
side, right?
there.
Or we're blue side.
We're blue side, so like you can spot the red side.
There's
Um,
actually a pink spot like right above 3 as well, right in that bush, because that
Yeah.
one again, like similar to the other one, like the jungler will almost always never pass there unless they're intending on ganking. That one also covers that same spot for 3 where like let's say
If you have time, if you're pushing the lane, you can walk
Yeah.
up there and put it there. Yeah.
and like it almost never like the two best spots in my opinion are that spot right there and the reverse end of that one. So it's like a spot where no one will ever see it, but it actually can give you a lot of vision. So, like, if you know that their jungler is on your side and they're planning on ganking mid, and you have river warded, that's the only other way he can come from bot side. So, just having that ward spot covers two different paths, and so does the river ward cover the last one. But yeah,
Okay. Red side. Red side. Okay. 1 for early game, because best way to gank red side mid laner is through the back again. 2, I don't know. It's okay, but like I don't like pink wards on the top side because I don't really roam top that much, so I don't have much use for it. But jungler can put it there for like what do you call it, rift and stuff. And 3 to spot millionaires going for blue. Another one is the bush, like at the very bottom left corner. You can put a pink ward there too. Same deal as the last one.
previous one.
That Sean said, yeah.
Other side.
There's really no point warding banana bush because if you see them there, you're gonna see them like with another ward, like 1 or 2. Anyways, there's no point warding there. And of course, you can ward the river bush, but river bush wards aren't that great. Usually, you want to ward like deeper and earlier so you can spot them before they actually come and gank you, and it covers more paths. Okay, and then right side. Well, why can't I read? Okay, there we go. Right now. Jeez. Yeah. It looks the same to me. Okay. So 3 chickens, same as blue side. You can spot enemy jungler, kill him maybe, know where he is. Like, number 1, pink word. It's more important for red side because you roam through river more than on red side than you will on blue. Of course, you can go around, but like it takes more time. And 2, it spots them before they come into the river, and also spots them in the river before they go into the bush. Another one is like banana bush, if they want to go around, but like most junglers don't go around along the bigger wall, because it's easier to go on the smaller wall, the thinner wall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Bot lane. Okay. Bot lane for blue side. So if the wave is like neutral, you can put a ward in the river for normal junglers that walk the river, and then another ward over the wall. And if you're ranged, you can pop the blast cone, so that junglers can't go pop over. But if it's against a jungler like Zac, Rek'Sai, or like Lee Sin, this ward is especially important because it can jump over the wall. And there's a pink ward in Tribush that's not shown. That's like pretty standard.
Yeah, there's actually a little trick that you can do. to do a really long range ward, and you can get it in that little tri bush.
Oh yeah, the tribush there. Yeah.
So what you have to do is just you want to get as you just basically keep walking into the little
Between the two trees.
trees, and then then use spacebar or like reset your set your character, like center your character, and then you're just gonna place it on that little pebble by the trees next to the tri bush, and you're gonna try to place it like further up, or like a little further up from that, and place it there, and you can actually get it all the way in the tri bush. So I mean,
But it doesn't pop. It isn't.
it's not. I don't recommend it because it just takes so long, and like it's more likely that they'd walk from the buff end because that just if you're
Yeah.
pathing down, you're gonna path
Buff to gank.
probably gonna path. Yeah. But it is sometimes helpful, especially like
It doesn't
as
show
she has
blast
really
code.
pushed up. That having that bush warded is really good.
It doesn't show blast cone though, so you have to walk around and pop
Yeah.
it, which wastes more time, I think.
It's very situational.
Another option instead of pink warding tribush is you can move it further and pink ward the bush behind your red buff. So it covers the same path, but it's like earlier warning basically. Okay. Okay, so on blue side, if you're being pushed on and you're at tower, so there's like a danger of possibly being dived. You can put a pink ward in the bush, like the golem bush, and then one across the wall. Because you don't really have time to go and ward tribush. Because if you go to ward tribush, they might engage on you and you might die.
If you're really behind, you don't want to place wards where they can contest. You want
Yeah.
to keep your wards as safe as possible.
If you're pushing. I gave up on drawing numbers, I think. Oh no, I just forgot that one. If you're pushing, so number one is basically you walk up to like under tower range, basically, and then like you put it on the wall and it'll bump over to the tri-bush. And then 2 covers river and the buff path. And then 3 is the island bush, which you can ward for your mid laner. So, or they can ward. Like if they have a ward, then that's great. You can save your wards and maybe put it like at blue buff or something. But if your mid laner doesn't have a ward, then you can ward it too. And this is for when you're pushing on them as blue side. Okay, red side. So number 1 river, number 2 is pink ward in the bush, and number 3 is the tri bush. Pretty standard, I guess. Okay. Let's say. On red side where you're being pushed on, so you want to control it in your tri-bush so you don't get dived. And then as a support you can walk around the tri-bush wall and then put a ward over the wall. And then a third one would be in river, between in the entrance of blue buff, so between river and like the jungle itself, basically. And this should prevent you from being dived, because if you see them, you just back off and they can't dive you. One path though that doesn't protect you is if the mid laner goes like around blue buff, basically, but that takes a long time. And so your mid laner should ping you missing and you should be able to back off anyways.
And that's a really dangerous path as well, because
Mhm.
most people early game aren't gonna have a lot of vision in that area. So walking all the way that deep into an enemy jungle is like very unlikely. They're probably just gonna go through river.
Okay. And wait, I said the wrong one. I'm trolling. Lamau.
You're trolling.
And let's here we go. Okay. So when you're red side, you're pushing. Um, you want a word. Let's, okay. So you want word number 1, a golem bush. So if you see the jungler doing golem, you can react early. And number 2 in the tri bush. You want this control word further up because you're strong enough to contest it because you're pushing on them, basically. And 3 would be in the river, the basic river spot that, like I've showed you before. This should protect you from every path when you're pushing on them. And number 2 control word, it can also set up a dive for your jungler because you clear out the vision in Tribrush and your jungler can sit there and like wait for the opportunity to dive along with your mid laner. And they don't know because they don't have vision there. Okay. Dragon words are important because dragons happen a lot. Okay, so push warnings on number 2 and 3 protects you from like if they come from mid lane, basically. And number 1 is you can hide in that bush and like surprise them if they ever try to contest. So like you have 4 people doing dragon and you have like the mid laner sitting in the rush. And if the enemy mid laner walks by, you just full combo the enemy mid laner and they let's die.
Yeah, and that makes it hard for them to contest.
Mm-hmm. And on the other side, you want blue buff entrance warded and then the blast code. And then if you're ranged, you can pop it as well, so they don't have an entrance to contest. So yeah. Some weird stuff. Red side, dragon mode 1. Okay, same as the blue side. 1, 2 protects you from mid lane and like base basically. And you can have controller in the pixel brush again, but I didn't put one there because I'm trolling. But yeah, you can have there. Same. You can like surprise people when they walk up. And then, ward over the wall, pretty basic. And then try brush ward. You can do the scar ward, or you can like walk around, or, like before they start the dragon. And then control word in the bush, or not the bush, the pit, so they can't see you while you're doing dragon. And then if they do show up to contest, what you can do is you can pull it out because we're in red side. So you can pull dragon out, like into the river, so if they hop over it, they have to walk towards the dragon to be able to smite, whatever. And then you can put over in the bush behind red as well. There's words. Oh, there it is, okay. Wow, I can't read. So loading. Okay, well, it's not showing. Can you see that? It's not showing for me.
Is it only 2? 1 and 2?
Wait. Can you see it? I can't see it.
Yeah, we see it.
Okay. Well, they send the same thing twice, or
Yeah, you sent the same thing twice.
okay, I guess I can't see it. Is it my internet? Okay, it is my internet. I'll just open up here. Okay. So one over the wall as you're doing it, and two is the pork and like walk around and put it there, so that you can see them earlier before they walk to up to the edge of the pit and contest. And the control word in the pit, obviously. And then you can put a controller in the pixel brush too, like support puts it in the pit, and then like mid laner or like jungler puts it in the brush or something. And then number one spots anyone that walks from mid lane. And the ward in the brush behind red spots anyone that walks from base or like the inner path. Basically. Oh, it is a shut up, yeah. Right side there, this is the fun part. It's a lot harder to ward for red side than blue side. Because blue side is only one entrance, really. On red side there's two. Okay, so control word in the brush there. What a lot of people like to do is death brush that brush. So they all stack as 5 in there, and they wait for one person to face check, and they can take a pick and kill them. And the word behind blue buff helps that spot earlier. And word number 3 spots you for mid lane. You can also word over the wall too. Like, yeah. You can word over blue buff if you want as well. And then on the other entrance, you can just ward the brush at blue, and then like the entrance of blue to Baron, and that should cover you. Yeah. One path they could take is like up top lane and then around, and then take the Bascon, but like no one does that. Yeah, that's about all I have. Oh wait, no, I don't. Okay, I didn't finish this, but blue side, for top lane when you're splitting, splitting top, especially. Okay, so a control word at red buff, and then a blue a word there at the bush. I guess I don't know what to call it, and then a word like behind red buff. Cover every single entrance they have to top lane, and this it's bossed them earlier too. So if you see them, you can just back off and recall. And then when you're splitting, your team should be wording for you. So like your support could put like a ward behind red, and you could put the wards number 2 and 3 yourself, basically. And you should always carry a control word when you're splitting top or bot,
Or anywhere.
or yeah, when you're splitting, basically.
When you're splitting, whenever you're pushing the lane, you need to always be keep it worded, because that's where you put yourself in the most amount of threat.
And do I have one for red side? No, I don't. Okay, that's all I have. For red side, so control word in the blue buff bush at the very edge. Please spot the crossroads, basically, and then one at the entrance of blue. Oh wait, I'm not even in game. It exited me out because I AFK'd. Okay. Then yeah, and that should spot people when you're swinging bot. And then for red side, I can do this later. That's all I have for now.
You guys have any questions? Anything specific? No. Nothing?
I don't think so.
Yeah, we're good. I mean, in theory, like everything makes sense, but in the actual game,
Just yeah.
Honestly, like I said before, just if you force yourself to double click on the control word, you will place it and you will use it. And just force yourself to buy, and I guarantee you guys will notice you guys are placing a lot more words.
A good habit to get into is when you back and then you buy stuff and you still have gold left over, you buy a control word, but you still have more gold left over. Say like you still have 100 left over, buy another one. So you have 2 control words. So when you put one down, you still have one ready to use.
Two
'Cause
control
if-
words is definitely like an investment you should put gold into.
Yeah.
It,
Because if you back, you buy your required items. You have 175 gold. You buy one control word. You still have 100 gold.
I mean,
And
it-
if you
it's
go back to the lane with 100 gold, it's not going to help you anyways. So might as well buy a control word.
it's actually really good to always have like a control word down and at least an extra control word that you can move your control word.
Mhm.
If you get there's this little passive on words called the something something word health of long
Order of longevity and like
that. If it has that, you either have it placed. The enemy team is either mentally retarded or you have it placed in a really bad spot. Because most of the time, especially if it's like very team coordinated, if people are going to clear wards, they're going to clear spots that are important for them to clear. So if you have like a random lane ward just for no reason, well, lane wards can be useful, but if you have like a random lane ward and like it's just a control ward in the middle of a lane or something like that, and you're not moving it, and it gets that little passive, you should move it because most of the time, if a ward lasts that long, then it's not being as useful as it can be.
Speaking of lane words, like when you're pushing and then you're like backing off, should drop a lane word just to see like what the enemies are, like
Yeah.
where they're rotating to.
Because if you, I think it's not abused enough, but like especially mid lane, if you drop a lane ward, you can and like their mid laner like shoves in, you can tell exactly where they're planning on going. Because if you'll have vision on where they are leaving, so if they leave like to bot side river, then you know they're going for bot. Or if they leave like the other, if they leave around the big wall towards bot side, you know that they could be bot or they could be just taking blue, things like that. So lane wards I feel like are really underappreciated because you can almost read someone's intent just by the way they're walking. But yeah, I mean I know this is a lot to take in, especially like I feel like now that you've gone through the wording lesson, you guys don't remember a single thing from the communication one. But I think this is something where like I can give it to you guys, and you guys can know the almost like the layout of like what we should be looking for in communication, and you guys at least have a general idea of what good spots are wording. Like you guys don't need to memorize all of these wording spots and just be like, this is where I need a ward when we're doing Baron. This is where I need a ward when we're looking for this and that. But you guys will know this is almost like the foundation, and you guys are the ones that are going to start building on it. So, yeah, wording does come really naturally. So,
Yeah.
force yourself to buy that 75 gold. I can't say enough. Force yourself to pay that 75 gold, and I guarantee you'll start wording.
The spots that I pointed out are like the be all end all. There's like suggestions that are like pretty good, and like you can like move them around. They're pretty flexible, but some word spots are better than others, though. You remember that? You want to get the most out of your word.
But yeah, and no questions at all. You guys are all set.